Oxygen flowed in a soft, calibrated rhythm through the ventilator tube connected to the burn victim in the intensive care unit of Rampart General. The small screen above her bed monitored her heart, her blood pressure, and her other vital signs. An IV pole with a drip stood beside her bed. She was wrapped from her head to her ankles in gauze and was heavily sedated to alleviate the excruciating pain of third-degree burns to over 85% of her body. She'd lost her hair, ears, face, nearly all of her skin. Her feet were charred stumps, her hands charred claws. Her injuries were fatal. She would not live through the night, the doctor had told Detective Ed Brennan of Rampart Police Department. Since then, Brennan had waited with the ICU nurse by the woman's bedside, never leaving it. He'd been home when he got the call. His wife had put their son to bed. He'd made popcorn, and they were watching the end of The Searchers when his cell phone rang. "White female, mid-20s. Officer Martin had told him over blaring sirens. "Found her near the old burial grounds. Burned bad. They're taking her to the general. They don't think she'll make it. Looks like she was tied up, Ed." Brennan rushed to the hospital in the hopes of obtaining a dying declaration from the victim. The doctor took Brennan aside after emergency staff had done what they could for her. "There's no guarantee she'll regain consciousness." Brennan needed her to help him solve what would soon be her murder. In the hours he waited, he'd gotten used to the room's smell. They had no ID for her. There was no chance of fingerprints, and no indication she'd had any clothing or jewelry. If so, it had been burned away. They'd have to review local, state, and national missing persons cases. The most disturbing aspect was the ropes. Again, Brennan looked at the pictures on his phone that Martin had sent from the scene. Again, he winced. Then he concentrated on the charred ropes. She appeared to have been bound by ropes. The fire could have allowed her to escape from the building. Escape from what? And from whom?